Regarding Dr. Richard's questions, our group had the following discussions. I'm happy to consolidate them and share with you. The first question regarding biblical passage. In fact, we know that in the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and 2, God's creation, God had empowered us to manage the world. Also in the New Testament, many teachings from Jesus regarding servant leadership, stewardship, so I don't need to repeated the details here. So we know that throughout the Bible, there's lots of biblical passage indicating that we as the steward, their roles, how and what we should do to ensure sustainability in all the development and all the projects that we launch in this world. Also, that leads us to think about the concept of data governance model nowadays in both the banking and finance sector, in public and private health, education, etc. But we know that today as well, lots of business are basically data business, right? Everything is digitized. And in the data governance model, we do talk about data ownership, data custodian, and data stewardship. Now, in the past, we think that, for example, how our medical data belongs to the hospital or our doctor, but in fact, it's not. It's our own medical data. And our travel movement, we thought, in and out of a country, those data belongs to the government. But in fact, now we know that they are only the data custodian. All those data belongs to me because that is my travel movement. Same thing in the banking and finance industry. All those financial transactions that I use my credit card with, although the banks use that for a lot of data analytics, but in fact we know that those data belong to me because I use the credit card, okay? And all these transactions are created by me because I'm using it, okay? So the bank and the credit card company, they are only the data custodian, so they have to protect the data, and I should have the data available at any time I want. Same thing in the education industry, right? So if a student wrote an exam, the content of the exam, the content of the assignment itself belongs to the student, right? Of course, as a teacher, as a professor, we mark it, we make comment. Those part belongs to the teachers or the professor. But of course, because they are employed by the university, obviously the employer owns those data content. So once you drill into that, a lot of the data governance model in companies, in the public sector as well, there's touch upon on the data ownership, data stewardship, data custodian, all these concepts are also there. Regarding the second question, third questions, how we integrate those into, especially Dr. Richard mentioned about climate crisis. So we all talk about green finance. I personally do investment on EV, electric vehicles. So I think that's one of the way that I practice actually my investment in order to ensure that we do have a green earth, and also there's going to be sustainable growth. So I invest in Tesla, NIO, Xilpan, a lot of the EV vehicle. And also we know that for listed company, right, they talk about ESG as well. So we all are aware of that. And as a Christian, whether church leader, pastor, or even a politician, I think we should promote this. Now, that's why we see that sustainable growth, eco-friendly products, or fair trade, etc. All these concepts are emerging in the past few years. Now, although we talk a lot about this, but the problem is still it's moving very slow. You know that some countries are not really, the politicians are not really interested in promoting and pushing forward in this direction. Let's see. Same thing. I also mentioned about, I'm also considering some of the solar panel to be installed at the roof of my house. In the past years, the Ontario government in Canada actually provide a lot of incentive of buying back those electricity that you generate from your own house, your solar panel. But they have, I think, suspended that initiative about 2-3 years ago. So I think hopefully Christian politicians and business leaders would be able to lobby the government to continue such incentives. Same thing for EVs. At one time, the government do give cash rebates for buying EVs. Or when you trade in a car, right, there's certain incentive for you to buy EV as well. So that's why I think definitely we as Christians could I think move more, take a more aggressive role in pushing the government or we ourselves practicing this in the world. Now, obviously, for me myself, I'm more focused in serving the so-called micro business, the MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprise. Right, I'm more focused on the micro part. So I believe that in the coming years, it's definitely the platform and the micro business. So the platform we talk about is like Uber, Facebook, Alibaba, TikTok, Amazon, etc. Those are the platform business. And on those platforms, there's micro business. Micro business are very important, and they also promote a lot of the so-called stewardship concept. And micro business are also very important to any country to reduce unemployment. And most micro business, I would say that they are more green quoted than other mega business. They have less wastage because the owner themselves actually own the business. They're more conscious about it. For example, let's say in my Yes Cafe, right? We are ordered to make, so we have less food wastage. We tried everything to be more environmental friendly in practicing the micro business. So, yeah, I guess that sum up those key points that we have discussed in our group.